Hi everyone, today we have an 820-2915 with no green light on the charger and no fan spin. Now before I get into this, I need to explain something. So 2011 A1286 and A1287 boards, similar to this one, have a very widely known issue with the GPU. Now, you should not repair one of these devices unless you make it fully clear to your customer that the GPU can die anytime after the repair, unrelated to the repair. So in this case, I explained the customer the risks. They said they had a lot of software they couldn't transfer off of it and had a lot of license keys that was cost a lot of money. So they decided to go through with the no charging repair. So if you get one of these devices in that has an unrelated non-GPU issue, doesn't matter if it's a hard drive, other board issue, explain to them that the GPU can die any time between the time of the repair to a year, 6 months, whatever. They need to know that the GPU can die. So you need to make that clear to them. So this board in particular, we plug in the charger and we get no green light on the charger and we get no fan spin. Now this particular board had a previous attempt as well, a repair attempt as well. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at this and see what we can do. And I'm going to go over the diagnosis of the DC and charging circuit to see if we can figure this out. So the very first rail I want to check is going to be PP bus G3 hot, because that's going to give me an overall idea of what's going on with the board. So our meter is right here. Let me try and position this so you guys can see. Alright, our meter is right there. Kind of see it. So the first rail I'm going to check is going to be PP bus G3 hot. That'll show up pretty much in any of these tantalum capacitors right here. And that is 1.42 volts. So we know we have a problem there. Next thing I'm going to check is going to be PP3V42, which is going to show up over by U6901 right here. And that's 3.4 volts. I love these old boards because I know where everything is and don't really need a board view for it. So that's 3.4 volts right there. So I'm going to show you where I'm measuring. Let's see. Okay, so here is going to be the, looks like this might have been touched at one point in time. Probably not the issue though. So here's U6901, U6900, one or the other. This is the one-wire circuit, the charger recognition circuit right here. So we have 3.42 volts here, so we know PP3V42 is not our issue. This is going to be just one wire, I think. That's nothing. This is adapter sense, I believe, and that's also nothing. So something's definitely going on in the DC in circuit. So next thing I'm going to check is voltage on the input to the ISL6259. Here's our diode right here. This is our diode for PPDC and G3 hot. On this side, I have 0 volts. Wait, is our charger plugged in right? We should get something there. That's unusual. Do we have a short on DCN? Just try. Plug in the charger again. Now this makes no sense. We had PP bus a second ago, and now we have nothing. So we have nothing now. Let's try a different DC inject just to be safe. Apparently that was replaced by somebody else prior, but always like to double check. So here's a new DC jack. Usually when a DC jack is bad, you'll get 16 volts on adapter sense. So I don't think that's the problem here. Still no green light, still no fan spin, but let's see if I get 16 volts again. Or if I get 16 volts on this diode. And it looks like I got trolled. My ground pin and my meter lead came out. So this is also something that's important in diagnosing. Look at the simple stuff. Sometimes it's really easy to overthink stuff. And in this case, we overthought that a little bit. That 16 volts missing was not a board issue. It was an equipment issue. Again, in diagnosing, it's always important to look over the simple stuff. And notice we now have 16.96 volts on this diode. We're going to go back to our microscope view. And let's have a look on the other side of this diode. These diodes do fail sometimes. And we have 16.72 volts on this side of the diode. So we have 16.72 volts here. So you guys don't know I'm lying. 16.72 volts. Okay. Now, next thing, we're going to go in line to this resistor right here. 16 volts on one side, and on the other side we have 4.58 volts. So 4.58 volts. Now that's not normal. You should not have that much voltage drop across the resistor. So this resistor is probably blown. However, a resistor is not just going to blow for no reason. So most likely what is going on here is we have an issue with the battery charge controller. Here's the battery charge controller right here. This is the ISL6259. It's going to do a lot of stuff from that 16 volts in. So most likely something happened internally in this chip, causing it to pull too much power, and which blew this resistor. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to replace this ISL6259 battery charge controller, and I'm going to replace this resistor right here, and we're going to see if this board works. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. Let me get my flux, put a little flux on this board. Better unplug it first. Would not be good to change the stuff when it's unplugged. Resistor is off. Come on. Chip is off. Put our new chip on. I like to reuse the solder when I can. Just makes it look more clean, more OEM. But I am going to change this tip on this hot air station. These older boards really pull a lot of heat away, so the bigger nozzle tends to work a bit better. Let's get this on here. Turn it on. And it's in place. Let's put a new resistor on right there. Flux can affect how the ISL works, so it's always best to clean it. You don't want to clean it when it's just like right after you get the hot air off of it, because the thermal shock is not good, but as long as you wait a couple seconds, it's fine. And it should be cool enough to turn on now, and let's see if there's any change in the symptoms. So plug in the charger. Notice we now get a green light, and we get a fan spin. So there's a green light, and 2 spinning fans. So hope this video helps. Pretty basic DC in circuit issue, but this will apply to a lot of the older boards. It doesn't really have to be an A1286 It could apply to 3115s and older, 3330s, some Retina boards, pretty much any board with an ISL6259. So, quick little diagnosis of this. So hope it helps. And that's it for today.